Hi everyone, welcome to MarikaCreations. Today I will share with you 3 dupes. I've been online and I've found inspiration pieces, and I will show you how I have created similar pieces at a fraction of the cost. So stay tuned for this. For my first dupe, I will make a wooden tea tray, and I found different pieces online, all from 15 euros to 45 euros and above, I'm sure. So this wooden bowl, more like than a tray, I will use as the bottom piece. I think it's beautiful, and on the top just a round cutting board piece like that. And in the center I will put it together with this spindle or this leg. I guess it has been a leg for something, so you can just screw those pieces apart, and I will turn it like upside down like that, so that will be the top instead of the bottom, and then this piece will go in between, but a lot shorter. I need to cut it off right about there. So this is how it's going to look approximately. You will see. So first thing, I will measure how tall I need that centerpiece to be. Just measuring where I think it looks good, and then I will just mark it, and then I will go out and cut it to size with our miter saw. Now it's time for sanding, and I start out with just a piece of sandpaper. This video is part of the DUPE IT challenge hosted by Itzulia G and CJ DIY, and their guest host for this month is OK at Home DIY. I will leave links to their channels down in my description box. You can check them out later, and I will also leave a link to the playlist of this challenge down in my description, so you can get loads and loads of dupe inspiration. I will also go in with my electric sander, where I can reach a much quicker process. My aim is to prepare it for staining, because I want it to be a dark stain, maybe even a black stain on them. So just sanding until I am happy with the result, and then before I start the staining process, I will just find the very center of that upper piece and drill a hole big enough to fit that screw that was on the spindle. That one was too small, so let's change to a bigger drill bit, and that was just perfect. Now on to the bottom piece, and I don't need that big there because I just need to fit a screw, and just a normal screw to attach the other end of the spindle. And here on the bottom I also need to just make an indent so the screw will not make the whole piece wobbly. Now it's time to paint the spindle in a black satin color, and I will apply 2 coats. For the stain, I'm mixing my own stain here with some black, some brown and some gold, and some water as well, just acrylic paint. Just putting it on with a paintbrush and wiping off the excess with a paper tissue. But as you can see here, it turns a little darker than before, It looks okay here on this side, but once I have turned it, this one looks beautiful with the stain. Love it, love it, love it. But that lower part, you will see just in a moment. I go back to that one to stain the inside, like you see me do here. It looks good with that, all of it on. But once I have taken off the excess, it looks just as before. So I decided, okay, no stain, go for the paint, and I will paint them all 2 coats in that black satin color, just as I did with the spindle. I have screwed the spindle into place there, looking good. But before I touch the upper tray, I will dry brush the bottom piece with a gold acrylic paint that I have put just a tiny touch of black into it to antique it a little bit. So I'm just dry brushing on until I am happy with the result. On the top part, I will just dry brush the edge of it, like you see me do here. And once I am done, it's time to attach it. Like that, looking good. On the top there, that was once a foot, and I decided to embellish it a little bit. So I've taken a gold, it was part of a hardware for a doorknob or something. So I'm just screwing that on so it will look a little nicer, and then dry brushing it with the same color so it looks good together. And I have placed my tea tray in my bathroom with just some nail polish and things that you need in a bathroom. Looking pretty, I think. Tell me what you think. So the pieces online went for between 15 and 45 US dollars, and I only paid 5 for mine. Now it's time for my second wooden tea tray. You have already seen my inspiration pieces, so I will use these wooden cutting boards or trays for cloches, I think they are, and this wooden curtain rod. But it will be too thin to have just as a one centerpiece to hold that tray up. So we will see in a minute what I will do. And this piece I picked up as well at the thrift store. Thought it was rather fun, but it has a lot of wooden beads. I will use them as feet. And on the top there, I will also use them as a kind of embellishment. You will see. And this will be my top piece, something broken that I found in my stash. Okay, so I'm taking off as many wooden beads as I need, 4 on the bottom as feet and 4 on the top. And then it's time to figure out how tall I want my tea tray to be and just mark it. Now I have 4 pieces, because instead of just one piece and having it wobbly, I will put 4 pieces, like 4 columns in the center of that tray, if you see what I mean. Okay, I will show you right here what I mean. Like that, and that on the top. Looking good, right? First thing I will do is to sand off my trays as best as I can, nice and smooth. And this time I will stain them. If you're new to my channel, Hi, I am Marika, and on this channel I do lots of DIYs, thrift flips, trash to treasure, a few dupes, renovation of my home, and I even do some pottery and some painting. Please join me, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell and join my YouTube family. Now I am measuring, marking out where I need to drill for the 4 columns. So they are evenly spaced in the center. I did find the center to start with, and then I went from the center and out to the square around it. And I will also make a hole in the center on the top piece. So now, in order to get it perfect on the bottom piece as well, I will center that top piece on the bottom piece, and then I will clamp them together like you see me do here, so they will sit tight, and then I will drill the holes right through, all the way through both pieces. And then I will sink in the screws, the middle one there and on the top as well, because they will fit in not only the screws but the wooden beads as well, and I want them to sit steady. And on the bottom as well, sink in the screws, and then I will start measuring from that square that I already made and out to the edge of my wooden round to fit the feet of my piece. So equal distance from the edge like that, and then I will just take this drill bit that will sink them in like that, so I can get a good surface to attach them with some adhesive later on. Now I'm changing to a very thin drill bit, because I will make pilot holes in both ends of each of the wooden rods, like you see me do here. Now it's time to stain my pieces, and I start out the first coat with a natural oak stain. Putting it on with my paintbrush and wiping off the excess with just a paper tissue like that. Looking good already, and I could just stop right here, but I will set them aside to dry for a bit, and while they are drying I am painting the rods and the top piece with my black satin color, and I applied actually 3 coats here. And I'm also painting the wooden beads in the same black satin color, and here I only needed 2 coats. Now I'm back to the trays, and I'm using a black stain here, just 1 coat to make it a more darker wood, like walnut almost, like how it turned out. So I set them aside to dry. Now it's time to attach the feet, and I'm using a strong adhesive here, just a little dab in each of the indents and just pressing the wooden beads into place. And then I take a paper tissue and wipe off the excess like that. Just press them down, and now they have dried, and it's time to assemble my piece, taking 1 screw at the time to attach the wooden rods like that, holding them into place, and tighten the screws. It looks like this, and I have attached the top part already. I've done that before I attached the top to the wooden rods. So just trying to get it into place and then work the screwdriver. But I had a hard time to reach here, so I decided to go the old-fashioned way with just a screwdriver, and that worked like a charm as well. No problem here. It's time to put on my wooden beads. Same adhesive here, and I had to just sand them off to get them to really roll into place in that indent to cover the screws. And then I will just put some black where I have sanded them off. But in the end I decided against this because I thought it was just too much on top there. So we'll see just in a second in the final reveal how I changed it. Et voila, here it is, sitting in my kitchen area, looking beautiful. And here you can see on the top I have just put wooden half beads, smaller ones, and I thought that was perfect. And in the holes on the top piece I just inserted a coin on each side. Looks pretty, I think. It's quite a unique wooden tea tray, I think, with those 4 columns. Tell me what you think. Now for a comparison. The ones online, 15 to 45 US dollars, and I only paid 3 US dollars for mine. For my third and final dupe, I will make a mushroom, a wooden mushroom. They go for all kinds of prices. I found these for $55. So I have a cutting board that I have thrifted, a piece of firewood with a funny shape that I will cut off just a tiny bit, and then I will put this metal ball on top. Looks like a mushroom, doesn't it? I will work a little bit more on them to make them look even prettier. So first thing I will do is to find the very center of this cutting board. I have thrifted it for just €0.50, about the same in US dollars. So I'm making marks across like that because on the bottom of the mushroom's hat, do you call it hat in English? Mushroom hat, you will have those ridges. You can see what I mean there? And here I'm measuring where I need to cut off the firewood. So I'm taking a grinder and then I will just make those indents where I have marked them, like that, all the way around. I did a few, then my hubby volunteered to do the rest so I could go on with the rest of the creation. Here I'm working on the piece of firewood. I'm sanding off the bottom of it to make it stand straight, and I'm doing that with the belt sander like that. And then it's time to cut it to size before I do anything else to it. Here I am spray painting the outside of the metal bowl in a matte black color, just the one coat. I don't want it to be shiny because you might see something through the tissue that I will put on top of it. You will see in just a moment. And now it's time to sand off my cutting board all the way around making it nice and smooth. And also where I can reach on the piece of firewood that has been cut to size now. And I will go in the nooks and crannies of that firewood piece with just a piece of sandpaper, like you see me do here. And once I'm happy with the result, they are nice and smooth but still rustic, I will go in to stain them. The bottom piece with just a natural oak stain because it's quite dark as is, so it just needed the one coat. The first coat of the cutting board, I used the natural oak stain as well, like that. And then once that has dried, I went in just on this side. The other side won't show in the end anyways, so I went in with a black stain, and I wanted to accentuate those grooves that I made so you can see how beautiful it looks. So now I have put some pads on the bottom of the foot of the mushroom so you can stand very, very straight. And now it's time to screw it into place. We have just made a pilot hole in the center of that cutting board. Looks like that. Almost a mushroom, and that with a hat on, but I'm not quite ready yet. I will cover the top with burlap ribbons. I was looking in my stash to find a bigger burlap piece, but I did not have one big enough, so I went for burlap ribbons, and that will turn out good as well. As you can see here, I'm attaching them on the bottom like that, just folding them first and attach them with staples, 2 in each of the ribbon pieces. And then I will put the hat on and cut off any excess, fold it, and it will hold that metal bowl in place. I didn't have to attach it with glue or anything. Those ribbons did the trick. And now I will just continue with my ribbons. I think I had 15 or 16 pieces. Just putting on enough to cover the whole piece. You could, of course, use any fabric of your choice, anything you fancy. So once I am happy, it looks like this. And now I want to cover those staples, and I have this beautiful braided burlap ribbon that I will just attach on top of the staples all the way around, just with some hot glue. And that is all I'm going to do with this beautiful rustic mushroom. If you like this video, consider subscribing and hit that like button as well. It will help my channel to grow, and I can spend more time creating inspirational content for you. My aim is to upload 1 video per week. Et voila! Here it is, looking very, very pretty. I think it looks like a mushroom. What do you think? And you can see on the bottom of the hat, looking good. So tell me, what do you think of my dupes today? Did you have a favorite? Let me know in the comments. And here you can see where I have placed it, right beside its big brother. I have not made that one myself. And now for the final comparison. The one online for $55 US, and I only paid $2 US for mine. So if you are inspired and you want more dupe ideas, just head on over to my description box and hit the link to the playlist of this challenge. Just click and enjoy. Thank you so very much for watching. see you soon again in my next one. Until then, take care. Bye.